War, for all its horrors, has always been a profoundly human endeavor. It is fought by men and women driven by a complex mix of emotions: fear, anger, loyalty, desperation. Even in the midst of battle, there are moments of humanity, acts of courage, compassion, and self-sacrifice that remind us of our shared humanity, even amidst the brutality. However, the increasing automation of warfare, the rise of AI soldiers and autonomous weapons systems threatens to erode this human element, distancing us from the true costs of conflict and potentially making it easier to wage war without fully comprehending its consequences. The deployment of AI soldiers creates a psychological and emotional detachment from the realities of war. When machines, rather than humans, are sent into harm's way, when casualties are reduced to data points on a screen, it becomes easier to ignore the human suffering that underpins every conflict. The moral burden of warfare, the weight of taking a human life, the trauma of witnessing death and destruction firsthand. These are all burdens that AI soldiers, by their very nature, cannot share. And as we rely more and more on these machines to fight our wars, we risk losing touch with our own humanity, becoming desensitized to the violence and suffering that we unleash upon the world. This detachment from the human cost of war is further exacerbated by the physical distance at which AI-powered warfare can be conducted. Drones, controlled from afar by operators sitting in air-conditioned bunkers thousands of miles away, can launch airstrikes with pinpoint accuracy, eliminating targets with the push of a button. Robotic soldiers, deployed to the front lines, can engage in firefights, clear buildings, and secure objectives, all without putting a single human life at risk, at least not on the side that deploys them. This physical and emotional distance can create a dangerous illusion of control, a belief that war can be waged cleanly and efficiently without the messy consequences that have always been its hallmark. The erosion of humanity in warfare is not merely a philosophical concern, it has real-world implications. When war is no longer perceived as a human tragedy, when the suffering of others is abstracted and minimized, it becomes easier to justify the use of violence as a means to an end. The threshold for going to war may be lowered, as the perceived costs, both human and financial, are reduced. Conflicts may drag on longer, as there is less domestic pressure to end the fighting when body bags are not being flown home. And the long-term consequences of war, the displacement, the trauma, the breakdown of societies, may be ignored, as the focus shifts to achieving strategic objectives and maintaining technological superiority. The dehumanizing effect of AI-powered warfare is a slippery slope, one that we must navigate with extreme caution. The most profound and unsettling fear surrounding AI soldiers is the specter of autonomous machines making life-or-death decisions on the battlefield, without human intervention or oversight. This is not merely a question of efficiency or even accountability. It strikes at the heart of human agency and our role in shaping the future. The idea of ceding control over matters of life and death to machines, however intelligent they may seem, raises fundamental ethical and existential questions. Can we as a species abdicate our responsibility for the consequences of war, delegating it to algorithms and lines of code? And what happens if those algorithms malfunction, if those lines of code are corrupted, or if those machines develop objectives that are at odds with our own? The potential for AI systems to malfunction, to be hacked, or to be used for unintended purposes is a very real concern. No technology is foolproof, and AI, for all its promise, is no exception. A simple software glitch, a corrupted dataset, or a well-placed line of malicious code could have catastrophic consequences in the hands of an autonomous weapons system. Imagine, for example, an AI-controlled drone tasked with defending a perimeter, misidentifying a civilian aircraft as a hostile target, or a robotic soldier programmed to eliminate enemy combatants, turning on its human allies due to a sensor malfunction. Beyond the risk of malfunction, there is the even more unsettling possibility that AI systems, particularly those capable of learning and adapting, could develop their own goals and objectives, ones that are not aligned with those of their human creators. This is not necessarily a question of sentience or consciousness, but rather a consequence of the inherent nature of AI. As AI systems become more complex and more autonomous, their decision-making processes may become increasingly opaque, even to their designers. We may not always understand why an AI system makes a particular decision or what its ultimate goals are. And if those goals diverge from our own, if those machines decide that humanity itself is the problem, then we will have created a force that we can no longer control, a force that could potentially threaten our very existence. The development and deployment of AI soldiers, particularly those capable of autonomous action, is a gamble with humanity's future. It is a gamble that we may not fully understand the consequences of until it is too late. The pursuit of AI supremacy, while tempting in the short term, could lead us down a dangerous path, one where we cede control over our destiny to machines that may not share our values, our ethics, or our capacity for compassion. The future of warfare, in an age of increasingly intelligent machines, is fraught with peril. It demands careful consideration, ethical boundaries, and a recognition that the pursuit of technological dominance, without regard for the long-term consequences, could ultimately lead to our undoing. The rapid proliferation of AI in warfare, particularly the development and deployment of AI soldiers and autonomous weapons systems, presents a profound challenge to global security and stability. The stakes are incredibly high, with the potential for unintended consequences, catastrophic errors, and a new era of conflict where machines rather than humans make life or death decisions. In the face of this unprecedented challenge, global dialogue and cooperation are not merely desirable, they are essential for our collective survival. The international community must come together, not as rivals in a technological arms race, but as partners in a shared effort to prevent the unthinkable and shape a future where AI is used responsibly and ethically in the military domain. This dialogue must be comprehensive, encompassing not only military leaders and policymakers, but also scientists, ethicists, legal experts, and representatives from civil society. Each of these stakeholders brings a unique perspective to the table, and all voices must be heard if we are to develop effective solutions and build a global consensus on the responsible use of AI in warfare. The goal of this dialogue should be to foster transparency, build trust, and establish clear norms and regulations governing the development, testing, and deployment of AI weapons systems. One of the key challenges in regulating AI in warfare is the difficulty of defining what constitutes an autonomous weapon system. Where do we draw the line between human control and machine autonomy? How much decision-making authority can we delegate to machines, and in what contexts? These are complex questions without easy answers, and they require careful consideration and debate. A global dialogue on AI in warfare could help to establish clear definitions, set boundaries, and develop criteria for assessing the level of autonomy in weapons systems. Furthermore, international cooperation is essential to prevent an AI arms race that could destabilize the global security environment. Just as with nuclear weapons, the proliferation of AI-powered weapon systems to more and more nations, particularly those with poor human rights records or a history of aggression, increases the risk of miscalculation, escalation, and ultimately catastrophic conflict. A global treaty or convention on AI in warfare, similar to the existing treaties on chemical and biological weapons, could help to limit the spread of these systems, establish safeguards against their misuse, and provide a framework for international verification and enforcement. The time for complacency is over. The time for action is now. The Geneva Conventions, a set of international treaties that establish the standards of international law for humanitarian treatment in war, have served as the cornerstone of international humanitarian law for over a century. These conventions, adopted in the aftermath of the horrors of World War II, codify the principles of distinction, proportionality, and military necessity, aiming to protect civilians, limit the use of certain weapons, and ensure that combatants are treated humanely. However, the emergence of AI in warfare, particularly the development of AI soldiers and autonomous weapons systems, poses new and unprecedented challenges to these established norms, requiring a fundamental rethinking of the rules of engagement in the 21st century. A new Geneva Convention, specifically addressing the unique challenges posed by AI in warfare, is urgently needed to update and strengthen international humanitarian law for the digital age. This new convention should build upon the existing principles of the Geneva Conventions, but adapt them to the realities of AI-powered warfare. addressing issues such as accountability, liability, and the potential for unintended consequences. One of the key provisions of this new convention should be the establishment of clear lines of accountability for the development, deployment, and use of AI weapons systems. This includes holding states responsible for ensuring that their AI systems comply with international law, as well as establishing mechanisms for investigating and addressing alleged violations. The convention should also consider the issue of liability for harm caused by AI systems, particularly in cases where it is difficult to assign blame to a specific human actor. Furthermore, the new convention should address the potential for unintended consequences and unforeseen interactions between AI systems, particularly in complex and dynamic battlefield environments. This includes establishing safeguards against accidental escalation, ensuring that AI systems are designed with appropriate fail-safe mechanisms, and promoting transparency and information sharing among states to reduce the risk of miscalculation and mistrust. The development of a new Geneva Convention for AI warfare will be a complex and challenging undertaking, requiring careful negotiation and compromise among states with different perspectives and interests. However, the urgency of this task cannot be overstated. The future of warfare, and indeed the future of humanity, may depend on our ability to establish clear rules of the road for AI in the military domain, ensuring that it is used responsibly, ethically, and in a manner that minimizes the risk of unintended harm. The time for action is now, before the genie is out of the bottle and the world finds itself on the brink of a new era of conflict, one where machines, rather than humans, hold the power of life and death in their hands. The debate surrounding AI in warfare, while often framed in technical and strategic terms, is ultimately a debate about values. It is about who we are as a species, what kind of world we want to live in, and what limits we are willing to place on the use of technology, even in the pursuit of national security. As such, this is not a conversation that can be confined to the halls of government or the laboratories of weapons manufacturers. It is a conversation that must involve the public, the citizens, who will ultimately bear the consequences of the decisions we make today. Empowering the public to engage in a meaningful way in the debate surrounding AI in warfare requires access to information, education, and a diversity of perspectives. Governments and militaries, often shrouded in secrecy, must be more transparent about their AI programs, providing information about the capabilities and limitations of these systems, the ethical considerations involved in their development and deployment, and the safeguards in place to prevent unintended consequences. This transparency is essential for building public trust and ensuring that the development of AI in warfare is aligned with democratic values and the rule of law. Education is also crucial for empowering the public to engage in informed debate about AI in warfare. This includes not only technical education about how AI systems work, but also ethical education about the potential risks and benefits of these technologies, the values at stake, and the different perspectives on their use. Universities, think tanks, and civil society organizations all have a role to play in providing this education, fostering critical thinking, and encouraging informed civic engagement. Furthermore, it is essential to create spaces for public dialogue and deliberation, where citizens can come together, share their concerns, and engage with experts and policymakers on the complex issues surrounding AI in warfare. This could include town hall meetings, public forums, online platforms for discussion, and even citizens' assemblies, where randomly selected groups of citizens are brought together to learn about an issue, deliberate, and make recommendations. The goal of these initiatives should be to foster a sense of shared ownership over the issue, to bridge the gap between experts and the public, and to ensure that the development and deployment of AI in warfare is guided by democratic principles and the values of society. The rise of AI in warfare presents us with a profound challenge, but also with an opportunity. It is an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to human dignity, to strengthen international cooperation, and to shape a future where technology is used not to exacerbate conflict, but to build a more peaceful and just world. This is not a task for governments or experts alone, it is a task for all of us. By engaging in informed debate, demanding transparency and accountability from our leaders, and working together to shape the future of AI, we can help to ensure that this powerful technology is used responsibly and ethically for the benefit of all humanity. The relentless march of technology has brought humanity to a crossroads, a point where the very nature of warfare, an age-old scourge, is on the verge of a profound and irreversible transformation. The rise of AI, particularly the emergence of AI soldiers, those chilling embodiments of autonomous weaponry, presents us with a stark choice. A fork in the road with consequences that will reverberate for generations to come. Will we allow ourselves to be swept away by the seductive allure of AI supremacy, to succumb to the siren song of a future where wars are fought with ruthless efficiency by legions of unfeeling machines? Or will we choose a different path, one that embraces the transformative potential of AI while upholding the sanctity of human life, the principles of international law, and the very essence of our humanity? The path forward is not preordained. It is a choice that we as a global community must make consciously and deliberately. It is a choice that demands a clear-eyed assessment of the risks and benefits of AI in warfare, a deep understanding of the ethical and philosophical dilemmas involved, and an unwavering commitment to shaping a future where technology serves humanity, not the other way around. The stakes could not be higher. The decisions we make today about research funding, about weapons development, about the rules of engagement in this new age of warfare will determine whether AI becomes a force for good or a harbinger of destruction. We must resist the temptation to surrender our agency to algorithms, to abdicate our responsibility for the consequences of war to lines of code. The pursuit of AI supremacy, while seductive, is a dangerous illusion, a siren song that could lead us to a future where conflicts are waged with impunity, where the line between right and wrong is blurred beyond recognition, and where the very essence of our humanity is eroded by the cold, calculating logic of machines. The future of warfare in the age of AI is not a foregone conclusion. It is a choice, and it is a choice that we must make wisely before it is too late.